Well, good morning and welcome to another RiderCamTV video, and today we are talking about, let's get it, the Chigee AIO-5. And I tell you what, if you have a motorbike that has got no technology and you want to bring it up to the 21st century, I reckon that this is the system for you. So it's a lovely little screen, and we'll put all of the specs up in the screen at some point through the video. Lovely little screen, but this system, I've got to say, is one of the best systems I've put on my motorbike since I've had my motorbikes, for the various reasons that we'll go through now. So this is a tiny little unit in comparison. It's something like 5-inch screen. It's touch screen enabled and it works with gloves on, which is awesome. It's got tire pressure monitoring system. It's got blind spot detection cameras. It's got dash cams. It's got GPS, but above all, it has got Apple CarPlay. So I'm just going to stop here. We can have a very quick look at it. So the unit itself, lovely little unit, and I've chose to mount it where my Garmin XT would usually be, and I've done that for a couple of reasons. So you can get loads of add-ons for this thing. So you can buy the screen with an SD card. It comes with a mount that will mount on tubular bars or extensions on the RT. You can buy a mount to go into the yoke. You can buy tyre pressure sensor monitors that screw into the valves on the tyres. You can buy a whole host of different things, but you can also buy a Bluetooth controller or a wireless controller, and for BMW bikes, they do a dongle that you plug into the RDC connection within the bike. So the connection that you would plug the EasyCan into, and it will go straight into the CAN bus and allow you to use the whiz wheel to change the screens and to operate the device. So what have we got on here first? So let's have a quick look at the setup. So in the setup, see that I'm using my gloves, it's really responsive and really clear, this screen. So we've got brightness and we've got backgrounds, and I like the black. Storage, you can put your own SD card in there. I've got a 32 gig card in there. You can format it on the fly, and it's got a 28 gig eMMC hard drive space or that sort of thing in it as well. The features that it's got, so tire pressure monitoring system's really good. So these are little valves that screw, or little monitors that screw into the valves of the tires, and once you set them up, and they're so easy to set up, you can delete them, you can reconfigure them. It not only tells you the front and the back in bar, or you can change the unit as well, so I can have it in bar or PSI, and it changes automatically. I keep it in bar. But it also tells you the temperature of the tyres. Now, we've not been riding very long, so they're not very warm. But you can set the upper and the lower value on your tyre pressure monitors. When it goes below or over, it comes up in the middle of the screen with this massive yellow warning and starts beeping at you and telling you why it's warning you. So for bikes that haven't got that sort of thing, what an awesome feature. So then we've got a headset. So I've got a Cardo Talk Edge, which is connected to my iPhone, which is connected to the AIO-5 Lite, taking away, for the first time ever with a sat nav or navigation device, taking away the confusion of how do I connect this, how do I connect that, what order do I do it. You've got one connection, which is your mobile phone via Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to this unit. The mobile phone is handling everything in terms of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which I'm told is really good. But it means that I haven't got to connect my headset to something as well as my phone to something, as well as something else to the sat nav, and then it all getting confused. It's all just working. So GPS, got 21 satellites at the moment, so that's going to give me my GPS signal. Remote control. Now the remote control I've got connected is the one for the BMW, so it connects into the CAN bus. They either do a 4-pin or an 8-pin, so you need to see which pins you need for your bike, but it enables the whiz wheel to work, and the way the whiz wheel works I will show you in a minute. But this handy one comes with a bracket so you can mount anywhere. I've chosen to 3M tape it to the reservoir because it's just in the right place, and it enables you to answer phone calls, cancel them, go menu to menu and select things. And it's as simple as deleting what I've already got, pressing the button on there, pairing it, and within seconds it's paired. So you've got the option whether you want a remote system or whether you want to use the BMW connected one. Blind spot detection, you can also have that. So I've got it turned on. You can have a voice alarm, not really interested in that. The calibration lines will show on the video. You can either have the sensitivity high or standard, and you can set the speed settings 0, 20, 30 or 50k, which is quite weird because I've set all of this onto miles per hour, but it's still showing up as kilometers, which isn't a problem. To update it, you just click on there. If you've got a Wi-Fi connection, just connect it to your Wi-Fi at home, click update, it will do its stuff. Now on this one I have got the more button. If you haven't got that, it's because the system software that you've got isn't updated to the very new one. So on this one you can go kilometers or miles, so I've gone on to miles because we're in the UK. Then you've got your language. You can have loads of languages in there, set the time, your time zone, reset it, or you can download. So this has got front and back dash cams, so you can either connect via Wi-Fi with these Wi-Fi code and the password, and I've got it turned off at the moment so you can't connect to it, or you can scan that, download the app, download it onto the app, which is brilliant. Or you can take the SD card out, which is at the bottom, and take the files off manually. So on our first menu we've got speed. Trip is down here, so I can hold and reset it. I've got my compass showing on there, is my tire pressure monitor sensor, front and back, and then at the bottom we've got 4 options. So let's have a look at meter first. So the meter will show you miles per hour. This isn't a rev counter, it's a speedo. Then you've got your tire pressure monitoring and your temperatures, your voltage in your battery, your altitude, time on the bike and the trip, and then we get to the video. Now I really like this. So this is the video. So this is the front camera. If I press hold, I can see the back camera, or I can see the front in the big bit or the back, and you can switch it all about. But it means that if you need to on the fly look at a bit of camera footage, you press the folder, it will stop recording like many of them do, and it will show you either the front or back, and you can scroll up and scroll down, and you can actually look and view from the unit some of the video that you've taken, which I think is going to be really good for training different people, especially in the advanced riding. We can actually say, this is what you did there, this is where it wasn't perhaps so safe, or this is where it was exceptionally good, or this is how you were riding. You can also go in and download it as we've shown you. You can lock a file if you think that's really important. The volume on here is going to be pants, because they usually are on dash cams. Hey Cardo, radio off. The volume on here isn't going to be that great, it's going to be really fuzzy, but they usually are on these sort of things because they've got so much air going over them. But we're not really worried about that, but it will pick up good audio if you're not moving anywhere and if you're not going through the wind. So say something happens at an accident, you leave the ignition on, you'll be able to capture all of that voice. So let's go back. and then back again, and then back again to the home screen. But this is the best bit. Look at this, Apple CarPlay. So I can use my Cardo system to ask it to use Siri. I can ask it to use any of this. It's activated. It is activated the Apple Assistant, I'll say, but I can use Apple CarPlay for Apple Maps, Google Maps, WhatsApp messages, music, all that sort of stuff. But if you use different navigation software like Scenic, you can use Scenic. My Route app, you can use My Route app if you use it. But I like to use Google Maps, and it's really good. Got the indicator still on. Right, so I am going to search for Rose. Well, let's just go to Chiverton. Chiverton Arms we'll go to. And press start. Now already in my helmet, you won't hear it because I've got my earpieces in. You won't hear that I've got directional instructions coming through my helmet. And incidentally, if you want to use earpieces, use the Ultimate Ear. They are amazing. Plug into my Cardo unit and just work. But now we've got Apple CarPlay. So our whiz wheel, if I turn it right, you'll see it starting to activate, and I can move it around. And to select those things to work, I can actually use that to select what I want to select on the CarPlay. Now you will see that I'm in a yellow box, but you are allowed to be in a yellow box if you're turning right. So I can use my whiz wheel to select different things. I can exit the map. I can move around just by using my whiz wheel, which is really, really good. Really good little system. But now what it means is I've got Apple Maps, CarPlay Maps, all the extra stuff that I need, all running from my mobile phone, which I think is brilliant, because this day and age, are sat-navs becoming a bit obsolete? I don't know. Sat-navs are really, really good. So this will use the data from your phone, like any CarPlay system will. But is it going to be better than a normal sat-nav? In lots of ways, yes. You can use this to import GPX files into Google Maps, but because there are so many different apps available to you to use on your phone, you could use TomTom if you wanted to. I don't know whether Garmin have got an app-based system that you can put onto your phone, but there is things like Scenic, Monimoto, all those sort of things. If they work with your mobile phone, they're going to work with Apple CarPlay. And you see on the right hand side it says caution there. That is the blind spot detection working. Now I have noticed that there have been a couple of false positives where people have been going the other way, that it picks them up, gives you a bit of a notification. But I think anything that gives you the added ability to be able to ride with the extra information, I think is just an incredible bit of kit. And because it uses CarPlay and hasn't got any dedicated sat-nav equipment on it, gone are the days where if somebody was to steal the unit, they'd be able to see exactly where you've navigated to and from. They wouldn't be able to see that, because it's all on your phone. There is nothing kept on the device, is there? The only thing that's really kept on the device is the camera system. So we have got on this system the ability to be able to use it in the wet because it's IP67 rated. Now there is a lock button. There's 4 buttons at the top. So one takes you back to the main menu, one takes you to CarPlay or Android Auto. And I'm told that's really good, although I've not got an Android phone to be able to try it with. You've got another button up there which then goes to the camera system, and you've got another button, the one on the right hand side of the top, which will lock the screen. Because as we know, with a lot of sat-navs and a lot of digital devices, when it's raining, those raindrops have a real effect on the screen and give you false positives and false indications or false presses of menu systems and that sort of stuff. But as far as we know, locking it is going to sort it out. Now, what I really like about this system is that Barney here is a 2015 RTP. Now, we've done a couple of videos on Barney and I've fallen in love with Barney. I've just got this affinity with this bike. I just love everything about it. However, the one thing I didn't really like is the lack of technology. So the extent of the technology on this bike, given the fact that in 2015 this was outstanding, it had more technology than anything really, didn't it? However, in 2023, 2016 bike, it's quite lacking. It hasn't got the ability for you to be able to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It hasn't got the ability for me to see the tyre pressures. Yes, I can do all this stuff that's in the LCD with temperature and on the seat and the handlebars and see how much fuel is on there, and it looks quite nice. But to have this on there, anything on my phone that's compatible with Apple CarPlay, or if you had Android with Android Auto, on your phone to navigate, that is just a game changer. Now the price of this, because Chigee are a relatively new company, so I think gaining confidence in what the company is like is going to be a big challenge, because there's lots of Chinese companies that are around, and some of them make really good stuff, some of them don't make that great stuff. We've seen some Apple CarPlay units that are brilliant, but their connection to the audio is really bad. They've got no battery in them, so as soon as you turn the ignition off, it goes off. This powers itself down because it's got a battery inside, or some resistor or something that doesn't just shut it off, so it doesn't corrupt your files that have been recording on there. But this system just seems to be so configurable to what you want it to do. And you've probably seen lots and lots of videos on YouTube about this very unit and how people are saying it's wonderful and it's the best thing ever. I don't think they're far wrong by saying that it's one of the best things to come out for motorbikes in terms of technology, but I think there are a couple of things that they could probably think about in the future for revision 2, if that's what they're going to do. So the first thing being is it's got 4 screws on the back, so their mounting plate has got a damper in it, which is really good, so the slight vibrations shouldn't damage the technology in there. But on the back of there, or in the middle of there, there is a proprietary, almost small ram mount ball, and that's backed up by, it's a strange shape to screw into the back of here, so it's a proprietary thing, and I would have liked to see them, or would have liked to have seen them use a system like a GoPro mounting system, where that sort of system is used across the board, and it's quite well used, purely because the places that you can put this unit, you can put it anywhere. But if you've got OCD like I seem to have, you can mount it on its own mount. It comes with its own mount that screws into the back, and they're trying to be security conscious so somebody can't just rip the unit off the bike. But on the RT, it won't mount straight, it's slightly at an angle, which for me is a real pain in the backside. I really want the thing to be straight so I can see it in the right way and angle it in the right way, and for me it was just a little bit off. They do a yoke mount, but on the BMW RTs, the yoke, when I took the BMW label off, or the BMW emblem off, there's only probably about an inch below there before you get to the massive bolt that screws it all onto the bike. I didn't want to play around with that, and the space was too little for the connections that they'd seemed to have provided. So what I did, took my satellite BMW satellite preparation off, screwed a hole through the plastic, because this all comes off this bit, and then mounted it with the proprietary connection for the yoke mount that screws to the back of the unit to then secure it into the actual dashboard, which seems to have worked really, really well. So I would have liked them to look at perhaps a more generic system of mounting so that there are more options, because this is just a bog standard R2, and if I found it really difficult to find where I wanted to fit it, I didn't want it off centre, I wanted it in the middle, I wanted it in the right place. It was quite a challenge to do that. The other thing being, and it's only a slight niggle, is that it's hardwired. So just underneath here you've got the wires going into the bike, they're all connected in behind the dash, all neatly stored away. However, that now means that having spent the money to buy one of these units, you would then need to buy another unit if you liked it that much if you had another bike. What I would love to have seen them do is actually have the unit connected with a different system, so that the wires weren't always hardwired in, that the wires were actually connected to almost like a mount that was mounted to the bike, that you could then mount this to, much like the XT, much like the Navigate 6, that sort of thing, that it actually uses a mount to mount on the bike, so that if I had two bikes like I have, I could buy all the sundries like the cameras, fit all of that in, the GPS thing, the dongle for the whiz wheel or the remote control, and having that all fitted to both bikes would then mean that I could then say, right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the screen from this bike and I'm going to put it on the new bike, just all in a few seconds, rather than having to spend money on two systems. Having said that, oh, I've arrived, look at that. Having said that, having it hardwired in and it's screwed into the bike, if somebody tries to yank it, they're going to break more than the unit. It's not going to be worth anything to anybody. But it's sat there and it's kind of a bit of a target, isn't it? Which is a bit of a pain. But I know that I've probably rambled on quite a bit, but this is the first time that I've actually fitted something to the bike that is actually going to stay on the bike all the time. Now, I've fitted things like Innovv cameras, Innovv third eye, blind spot detection, all of those sort of things. And what I've done is I've kept the Innovv cameras on my bike. For the minute, I've taken off the blind spot detection because I want to see which one's better, or which one I'm going to stick with, should I say. But that brings me on to the price of this. So the price of this unit, I think, is about £500–600. So with it being £500 or £600, you then have to think about the add-ons. So the add-ons will be the tyre pressure monitoring system, because some people might not need it. The control, if you want to use the control. The bit that plugs into the CAN bus. The different mounting systems. A screen protector. All those sort of things you might decide, well, that's what I want to buy. So you've got to factor that in. But even if it ended up being £700 or £800, think about the Innovv system. Fantastic dash cam system, bar none. I think it's one of the best out there, which is why I've retained it on the bike. A K5 system with them is £499, I think, or £399, one of the two. Then if you buy the blind spot detection system, that's what, £250, something like that. Both exceptional bits of kit, but this has got it all in one. And for me, as a ROSPA tutor, being able to take people out and say, this is how you were riding, this is the bit that we're talking about. You know, when you were talking about your positioning around that corner and how it might have been made a little bit better, have a think about where you were. Let's have a look. So I can look at it actually on the screen, which I think is just exceptional. And for the ability to be able to use this system, I mean, I'm going to exit this by just using my whiz wheel all the way along, and to select something you press in on the indicator. So I want to go back, I'm going to go back over to there, press in on the indicator, goes back to just the view in of the screen. Exceptional bit of kit. I don't think I've raved this much about a bit of kit that might change the way in which I ride my bike, or the way in which I feel the technology is connected with this bike quite so much. But I think this is a fantastic little unit. I really do think this is a fantastic unit. The screen is vibrant, it really is. And I tell you what, I've been using it for 3 or 4 days when I've been out riding, getting used to it, and not once has it changed not once has CarPlay decided I'm not going to connect your phone. Not once has it decided no, all this stuff isn't going to work properly. It's just worked, and I'm pretty sure that Android Auto will be much the same. It will just work, won't it? But what an awesome bit of kit. So if you're looking for a bit of technology that brings your bike up to the 21st century, allows you to use all the things for your mobile phone, and don't forget that the added benefit for me, or for people using this unit, is that your phone is in your pocket, it's safe. I like having my phone up on the dashboard if I need it to be charged, but you think about a mobile phone that's, you know, an iPhone. So my iPhone is only an iPhone 14 Pro. That is, what, about £1,000 to buy? £1,000 sat on your handlebars. It's got your whole life in it. So if you lose it, or if it gets damaged because of the vibrations, you're kind of without £1,000 worth of phone, aren't you? But now I can use my phone in conjunction with Apple CarPlay, navigate my way around, answer phone calls, make phone calls, have stuff read out to me like WhatsApp messages and messages, respond to them all by voice. What else could I do? Navigate via voice, navigate with my whiz wheel, and have a more connected but safer ride. Safe in the knowledge that my phone is in my pocket, all safe, away from harm's way, and if I need to charge it, I can put it on a battery pack. I think this is a brilliant bit of kit. I think you ought to check them out. They're on Indiegogo. As I said earlier on, they're a startup company funded by Indiegogo. I think this has got real potential. I'd love to see their version 2 with the disconnect it and put it onto another bike. But for this, I think this is an exceptional bit of kit. Go out and get one. Have a look at their website. All the links and stuff will be in the description below. But for now, I'm going to go off and enjoy my ride, knowing that I can navigate anywhere with any app that I want to do really efficiently. So if you've liked the video, give it a massive thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.